And we'll start with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Try to say it really slow. Okay. Roll call, Mayor Kratzky, I am present. Groko? Present. Kufal?
Present.
Padilla?
Present.
Rose?
Present.
Eker? Here. Okay. Any changes to the agenda tonight?
No.
Then I need a motion to approve the agenda. We have a motion by Eker.
Seconded.
Seconded by Groko. Any discussions, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion adjourned. Comments, updates, concerns? Doesn't look like our motion passed. Did I say meeting adjourned? We're done. We can all go home now.
Let's go.
Motion carried. Trying to get caught up since we lost some time. Comments, updates, concerns. I don't see any citizens here tonight. Any updates from council members? I'll just add, thank the fire department for including us in the banquet on Monday. It was a very nice evening. Any updates from city staff?
I'll make motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion from Eker to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kufal. Any discussion about the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. No public hearing tonight. Communication requests. We have the newsletter from the senior center. Lots of events at the library. And Plant Yourself in Gaylord coming up in May.
They're planning on a 5K run also with that event this year,
Really,
just to share.
every year it keeps getting bigger and better. So good planners on that committee. Okay, department and committee reports and action items. First is on the agenda is Public Works. So we will have Ty give us some updates about I&I and the Aquatic Center.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
The first thing I have is the I&I project. We proposed to contract out a third party for the televising the remaining properties that were unable to televise last year. We did get in contact with 3 different companies, and Diversified Plumbing by far had the best proposal. It would be a flat fee of $99 per property. I did speak with them directly. They say they've been doing the same thing for Chanhassen for the last 2 years, basically the same thing we're doing. And attached to this is the letter that we'd like to mail to the affected property owners, giving them until May 31st to schedule an appointment to be inspected. I'll just stop it right there on that first part. The other proposals were $250 for the first hour, $100 an hour after that. And another one was $99 an hour, but it was $250 setup fee per property. So I said Diversified, they do this have done this for other communities, and they just set a flat fee. So I think they kind of equal it out. So
And Diversified, they do a lot of that
they do lining.
lining and all that, so I mean, it'd be, I guess, a chance for homeowners to, I guess, meet them too.
Yeah,
if they decide.
I talked to one of their workers, was in town, checking out one of the properties. I actually talked to him about some of that stuff. He's like, yeah, we do all this stuff, so pretty much anything you want, so.
So tonight you just need our consent that we're good
Correct.
with you sending the letter.
Correct, yep.
Okay, council, do we have a consent?
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing everyone say yes, so you have consent.
I do have a question.
Yep.
On the lines that we already figured out we have a problem with, has
Yep.
anybody fixed anything?
A couple people have,
But how many people have been sent the letter that they gotta fix it? How many
like
people?
28 or 29 of them
And only 2 have
Wow.
applied?
so far. They got until the end of
It's been winter.
November. I know that there's like 6 or 7 of them lined up to get dug up
Sure.
already, that right away as soon as it thaws out, so.
The letters were sent out in the fall.
Yeah, so, I know they are scheduling,
Good.
it's just waiting until spring, so,
Was it September when we sent out those?
I believe September, October, so, yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll move on to updates regarding the aquatic center wage scale.
I got some left on this INI yet.
Oh, sorry.
The second part of it. I'd like to get approval for linear footage. I know that you said we were gonna line some sewers, this year. I enclosed a map of where we'd like to start. That total footage is about 790 feet, which would be about $39,500. Of course, if we don't wanna do that amount, we can always shorten it up or lengthen up, however you guys wanna do it. Just as a heads up, I did footage on all the clay we have left, excluding our infrastructure projects. And total in town, we have about 18,600 feet left of clay. It sounds like a lot, but when you put it against the map, large sections of the town are either lined or plastic already, so it's maybe a third left, maybe less.
Is there money in the budget for it?
No.
Can-
So in like today's money, that would be about $933,000 total.
How much?
About $933,000 for that, to get all that, if you were to do that all at once today.
You mean the whole,
That's
1/3
every
of
part
the
of
city.
town that's left,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so.
Regarding I mean, I'm all for lining up, it's nice getting rid of that stuff. Could we wait to make a decision until we know what that quarterly income is after the water rate change? Just to see where that funding comes out to?
Well, this
'Cause
would
I'm
be
assuming that-
sewer, this
but
would be the sewer department.
But I mean, ultimately, would part of that money come out of there, or
We would try to budget this right out of sewer.
is that a sewer? Was there enough money in that account to do? I guess reflecting
Can't
on
remember what
Jessica's
we have
question.
for maintenance.
It's about 40, 45.
45 we have for maintenance.
And you're probably gonna have other projects than this. Do you have any other major projects other than this that you're
As
gonna work?
far on the sewer side, no. Usually that comes out of, that's like jetting and stuff like that, so. And usually when we televise a little bit, if we find something bad, we usually, if it's bad enough, we have it dug up right away, so. Yeah,
So you're feeling comfortable if we were to use this money out of that account? that we're
correct.
gonna be able
Yeah, I don't see anything major happening on the sewer side this year, so. Besides just our general cleaning stuff, so.
We never did any smoke testing or nothing, did we?
No.
At this point, I guess you're just looking to go find quotes for it, you're kind of looking for
Yeah,
a
just to
consent.
find quotes and see how much footage we wanna do, I guess.
It'd be nice to get that whole stretch done. I mean, that gets from that goofy manhole, and then we're gonna replace that part on Lincoln. I mean, that'd be done if we just did that stretch. I mean, I think it'd be smart to just do that whole stretch. I think if we cut anything short of that, it's like doing half of it and coming back a year.
Okay.
But you just want us to approve you going to get quotes, and if
Correct.
they're,
Right.
if they're too high, we can always not do
We
it.
can always back it off.
Or, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
But as far as linear footage, I think we should get that whole section done.
let's see how much it costs.
Well, I mean, rather than cutting it in half, and,
Sure.
because then you
Well,
have two
I
setup
can get
fees
them a
and-
quote all the way up to Lincoln and just say, you know, if it's too much, we can always back off a
Yeah.
couple spots. Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
Because that's probably the worst line, you think, so far.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Council agree to that plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else before we move on to the aquatic center?
No.
Okay, now we'll move to the aquatic center.
So we're proposing some changes to the wage compensation for the seasonal positions at the aquatic center. These are the following wages adjustments we propose. For guest services positions, that's a grade 1. Right now, they are at steps 3 to 6, and we'd like to move them down to 2 to 4. With the minimum wage increase, it really jumped up those positions almost like what was it, Steve, almost $2. So moving them back to steps 2 to 4 kind of puts them in line with that 3% increase with everybody else. So it kind of lines them back up. The second change we'd like to make is for the 2 manager positions, move them from grade 6 down to grade 5. Both managers are grade 6, or at step 6. I did talk to them last year. They were fine with that, moving them down to 5. So, and the lifeguards with the WSI certificate will only be compensated at the WSI level when they're teaching swimming lessons. So years prior, when we had issues getting lifeguards, if before we made it a policy, if you got a WSI, that you got paid WSI wage all the time. And haven't had any issues getting lifeguards the last 2 or 3 years, so we'd like to move that back.
Just to refresh my memory, what are the 2 manager positions for?
There's actually supervisor positions, one for the aquatic side and one for the guest services side. So it'd be concessions and intake for check-ins and stuff like that.
So are they both there every day, all day, or what's their schedules like?
I'm keeping them at 40 hours a week.
I feel like the beginning of the season they are, just to get staff trained, but then I think they do a better job of,
They kind of back off.
like, once the season gets going, then they can kind of not both be there at the
Yeah.
same time. I mean, there might be times it's gonna overlap, but
Right.
It would be nice if they could work together a little bit, if one needs to be there in the morning for something, but
And
then
I
has
think
something
they
else.
are good about that, like figuring that out. And I know like they've had graduations and weddings where like the other one had to cover for them so that they could do those life events.
We're also cutting, before we had a lifeguard show up at 6 o'clock for I don't even know what that's called.
Aqua aerobics.
Aqua aerobics. We're not gonna do that this year. They're gonna teach themselves, cause the lifeguard was supposed to show up and lead the class. Well, nobody wants them to lead the class. They just kinda do their own thing, which is fine. Well, there's no point in having a lifeguard come in at 6 o'clock just to sit there and do nothing, so
Yeah.
I'm kinda backing off that too, save some money.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed GAAC 2026 wage scale.
I'll second.
Motion from Eker and seconded by Padilla. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Thank you, Ty.
The only other thing I have is just an update. Something went wrong with our well 5 pump, a few days ago. Time Well has be here tomorrow morning to pull it and see what's going on. I had Sibley Electric come and kind of narrow it down to where it was, and it's actually it's either the wiring and the casing to the pump or the pump itself. So they're gonna pull that tomorrow and see what's going on, so.
During the middle of the snow.
Yeah, let's hope it's not.
We haven't had that well pulled at all since we put it in, have we?
No,
So it wouldn't-
it's been a while.
wouldn't really hurt, I guess, to.
Yeah, so we put new wires from the pump to the building last year, I believe. We strung them because it had a short in it. But yeah, now we've narrowed it down past that now, so hopefully it's nothing super serious, but anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda is city engineer, so invite Justin up to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Let me just take a minute to connect up for my presentation here. All right. In front of us tonight is the CASA 21 Improvement Project, and I do have a presentation here to outline the final project scope and construction plans. The last time I was in front of the council was in December at the public hearing, and to be honest, not much has changed from the overall scope of the project. So for most of the people in the room, this will be review, but for those watching at home, they may pick up on some information that they didn't previously know. As far as this evening goes, the next step in the process is passing a resolution approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids. So this is one of those steps in the public improvement process. Anytime a city levies special assessments, you have to pass a resolution taking this action. But jumping into the project itself, again, review for most of us here, but this is a cooperative agreement project with Sibley County, and the concept's been around for quite some time. It was confirmed in a corridor study that was completed back in 2020 with MnDOT, Sibley County, and Gaylord. And the project, the realignment project, was the first project identified in that study. And it really leads us towards a future project, which would be realignment of Highway 19 to that same intersection and the construction of a roundabout. So this is really project number 1 in that series of projects. The map up on the screen here, just to orientate yourself, north is to the right, and you can see there's a TH5, that's Trunk Highway 5 or State Highway 5 along the left-hand side. The realignment of the county road is shown in those gray lines or gray bars. So if you're traveling south on County Road 21, when this project is, after it's constructed, it'll curve to what would be to the left and then intersect with State Highway 5. As far as County Road 10 or Lincoln Avenue, that would tee into that new CSAH 21 route. There will be some drainage improvements in the project, which would include a stormwater pond. That stormwater pond is shown in blue on the right-hand side of the map. Just getting into a little bit more detail on the roadway itself, the realignment of County Road 21, it will be a paved surface, and there will be curb and gutter on the west side of the road. The east side of the road will be more of a county road or rural section with a road ditch. And as I mentioned, there'll be some drainage improvements to the road alignment itself. As far as County Road 10 that tees into the new 21, it'll look very similar to the way it looks today. There'll be no curb and gutter on that roadway. And we will relocate the trail to follow that new alignment as it tees into 21. So that'll be part of the project. Jumping over to the city utility side, we will be extending water main south across County Road 10. Right now that parcel is only served by sanitary sewer. So we saw this as an opportunity to extend water main to that city-owned parcel south of 10 and be west of 21. And then underneath the County Road 21 will be installing what they call casing pipes. So these will be 2 pipes that'll be extended below 21. The pipes will remain empty, they'll cap them off, but in the future, they'll be able to take those caps off and slide in the water in the sewer to extend it to the east side of 21 without having to dig up the roadway. So we're preparing for some future extensions here. We know as the city grows, we'll need sewer and water across 21, so we'll be able to accommodate that without digging up the road. And no other sanitary sewer water main improvements outside those outlined. A little bit more detail on the drainage side of things. As I mentioned, there'll be some catch basins and culverts within the 21 corridor itself, and construction of a stormwater pond. And the pond is really designed around requirements set forth both by MPCA, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, but the city also has requirements for stormwater ponds with these types of expansion projects. It'll accommodate the county road itself, but it also serves as a regional pond, and it'll serve 10 acres of future development on the east side of CSAH 21. Right now, that drainage goes that direction already. It's the natural flow of the drainage to the north towards that pond, so we'll continue to maintain that. Future growth on the west side of County Road 21 will require a separate pond, so this pond will just serve County Road 21 in the east side of the roadway. Jumping into the costs for the project, City of Gaylord, all-inclusive cost. This includes the construction, the soft costs, the surveying and engineering, and then the land acquisition, $423,000. Sibley County share is about $2.6 million. So you can see they're picking up the lion's share, about 86% of about a $3 million project is what we're estimating the project at. Getting into a little bit more detail on the city's costs, just the breakout between the water main and the sanitary sewer, about $60,000 in water main, sanitary sewer about $40,000, and then the storm sewer, including some of that stormwater pond construction, just over $300,000 to arrive at the $423,000. From a project funding standpoint, when we held the public hearing, we did share that there would be special assessments on the project. So those would account for about $340,000, and then the balance would be from general tax levy and the utility funds, about $80,000 to arrive at that total funding amount. The schedule for the project, here we are tonight presenting those final plans and specifications. We would start advertising the project next week and hold a bid opening on May 12th. Substantial completion for the project would be this fall. October 16th is what we've identified in the bid documents. And then final completion would be just a month later to wrap up any punch list items. At the last council meeting, when we talked about this way back in December, a question was asked about that final layer of bituminous pavement, the wearing course, the last 1.5 inches, that will be placed in 2027. But you see here, this project ends in 2026. That last 1.5 inches will be completed by Sibley County as part of a project they're doing on County Road 21 to the north of this. So in 2027, Sibley County has a project scheduled to mill and overlay 21 to the north. And as part of that, they're going to put on that last 1.5 inches of pavement for this project and wrap things up. Before I open it up for any questions, one other update. Last week, Friday, Sibley County was notified that they were a recipient of a local road improvement grant for this project. It's a $700,000 grant. It's from Minnesota Department of Transportation, and there was quite a bit of competition for this grant, for the grant dollars. So we were fortunate to get funding for the project, which is great for the project. We still need to do a little bit more research. The grant dollars are meant just for roadway construction, but we are asking the question if it can be applied to some of the drainage improvements associated with the roadway and construction. So if that's the case, if it can apply towards some of those drainage improvements, there's maybe an opportunity it could reduce some of the city's stormwater costs in the project too. But either way, good news for Sibley County and the project as a whole to receive those grant dollars. I guess with that, I'd be happy to open it up for any questions on the project itself.
You think bidding will be pretty competitive? Is it?
I do. We're hearing a lot of contractors that are looking for work in the area, so we think that it's a nice sized project. So we're hoping there's a lot of interest in it.
Okay, any other questions? Then tonight we need a motion to approve Resolution 2026-10, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids.
So moved. I'll take it.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Rose, seconded by Eker. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay, moving on to Shoreview Lane.
Excuse me, Steve wanted me to provide an update on the wetland delineation that was completed on the parcels Shoreview Lane. There was a wetland that was determined to be located on the easterly parcel. So we're working with Sibley County Soil and Water and their representatives to have an on-site meeting just to confirm the location of that wetland and the boundaries of the wetland on that easterly parcel. I know there's a handout in the council packet that shows where that's at. So more to come as far as the final location and impacts to that area, but we just wanted to provide an update. They wanted to wait till the weather got a little bit nicer, so hopefully we don't get too much snow this weekend and we can schedule a meeting in the next week or two to go out on site.
How does that affect moving forward with moving that dirt over? I mean, are we able to move it and just not fill in that area when the time comes?
That's one of the things we're gonna discuss when we meet with them on site is what's the buffer distance that we need to stay away from that area. We know we can't fill within that green area shown on the map, but is there a buffer area, and just kind of confirming those boundaries. Once we confirm that, Steve and I have discussed maybe a good next step would be to stake out that general boundary, and then that way we know we can't fill in there, but we can fill around that area.
So we could potentially, hopefully, be moving this dirt into May.
Yes.
By then, hopefully, all these answers will be figured out, and by May, we can
Correct.
be moving forward with, I mean, hopefully selling them and moving dirt.
Correct.
Kind of the
Yep.
game plan.
That would be the plan.
Is there ever water sitting in that area right now? I mean, I don't recall.
When you take a look at the crop slides, there's a number of years where you can see the crops have drowned it out. So that's the indication they use that there's a wetland there. Now, it's a type 1 wetland, so there's different categories of wetland. A type 3 is what you would see like a cattail slough. That's a type 3. This is a type 1. Oftentimes it's referred to as a farmed wetland because it is farmed. But they take a look at a number of different things. They look at the type of soil that's there, if it's a hydric soil. They look at the plant type. Well, this doesn't really apply here because it's probably soybeans or corn. But then they also do look at what they call crop slides. So they go back in time and take a look at, does this area hold water? Is there crops that consistently drowned out? And that leads them towards a determination of, is it a wetland or is it not a wetland?
So if they make boundaries and we can't fill that dirt in, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a bigger pond there, is what'll end up happening. Because if we build up all around it and that's already a low spot, isn't that just gonna create a bigger?
That's one of the things we want to
Area.
talk to them about is can we fill around it and what's that buffer look like? Ultimately, this drains towards the ditch. So when it gets to a certain point, it just goes over the ditch, top of the ditch and just runs into the ditch. So I don't envision filling on the north side of it would impact it as far as making this larger, because at some point it just flows to the west over the top of that ditch section. But these are all good questions and things that we'll visit with SWCD out on site before we start doing any grading or moving of dirt, so that we're making sure we're in compliance with the Wetland Conservation Act.
If that was continued to be farmed, could that farmer not tile that area?
That's a question I can't answer, but it's a good one, and it's something we can ask SWCD, is what the tiling requirements are. Sometimes the agricultural implications are different than what we can do from a civic standpoint.
So a farmer could tile it, but the city can't.
I don't know if
That's
that's,
what I'm hearing.
yeah, I
So
don't-
it
maybe we should
depends.
hire a farmer to fill it in, maybe.
That's, yeah.
those are good questions, things that we'll ask and get back to the council on.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
Yes. Thank you.
Next, moving on to unfinished business, we have ordinance number 379, amending the City of Gaylord Charter.
Yes, this is, the council held a public hearing back in December 3rd. That was the first reading of this ordinance as well. Basically, what we're doing is amending our charter, chapter 70, specifically within the charter, in reference to assessments for services. Basically, we're deleting the existing language and basically adding new language. We're being much more specific as far as what things that we could assess onto property taxes. Namely, any fines, fees, things like that that are unpaid with the city, any penalties that we would charge, those things could all be then assessed. So this is just kind of cleaning up our city charter here to allow for that, and having that detail in there allows us to, then we have it there. So this, again, is, this would be the second reading of this ordinance number 379, and there's also a summary publication in your packet as well for consideration.
So we need a motion to adopt ordinance number 379, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord Charter, particularly Section 70, Assessments for Services.
So moved.
We have a motion from Groko.
Second.
Seconded by Kufal. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve the summary of ordinance number 379 and its publication.
So move.
Motion from Rose,
I'll second.
seconded by Padilla. Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 10B, under unfinished business, we have ordinance number 378, amending the City of Gaylord zoning code.
This is actually ordinance number 382.
Oh, 382, sorry, got my numbers mixed up.
So this was actually, this ordinance was brought to the city council last month at the March 18th meeting, and you guys elected to table this ordinance. It was suggested at that meeting that we should also have, we have a definition here for contractor operations that we're proposing to add to our list of definitions in the zoning code. And it was suggested that we also add a definition for contractor. So on page 55 of your packet, which is ordinance number 382, I did add a definition then for contractor. Basically, it's a prime contractor or subcontractor or someone who provides building construction or improvement services and is registered under Minnesota statute 181.723 as amended from time to time. So basically, by referencing the statute, we're basically having our, if you've had a chance, I put a copy of it in there. That does kind of lay it out pretty good as far as what the contractor is. So, so with that, that's there. And then we had the contractor operations. As I shared last month, we have in our industrial zones, I-1 and I-2, we do have contractor operations as a permitted use. And that's why the planning and zoning is recommending that we would have a definition, because currently we're absent of a definition in our zoning code for that. But basically, it's a it's a land use involving staging, operation, and administration of a business that's in the building construction trade. We have a lot of those around town here, and they're proposing that we would then allow for that use to expand beyond the industrial districts to also into our commercial districts. Because simply, we have them already there. So we're proposing that we would amend it to allow contractor operations in the B1, B2, and B3 districts. So all three of our commercial districts. And then lastly, for this, this ordinance, we're proposing to also amend in our zoning code in reference to signs for buildings. Currently, we have it in our B2, B3, and I-1 and 2 districts that we only allow one wall sign, basically to go on a building, so one wall sign. And the commission had a pretty lengthy discussion about this, whether or not to allow for more than one or to establish a percentage. And they thought it was be more fair overall that we would establish a percentage of the building face that could be covered by signs. Basically, we're talking about business signs here. And so they came up with a 25% of the building face. That's what they're recommending. So those are the recommendations that the commission has had. They had a public hearing on this, and there was no comments from anybody in the public.
Okay, so we need a motion to adopt ordinance number 382, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord zoning code.
So moved.
Motion from Eaker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kufal. Any additional questions or comments, discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 10C, personnel policy amendment.
So this is a continuation. Actually, the last couple meetings, we've talked about this particular item. This is in reference in our personnel policy to sick leave accrual. Currently, our policy reads that staff are allowed to accrue sick leave up to 960 hours. They get 8 hours a month or 96 hours a year. So it'll take approximately 10 years for them to get to that level, but we do currently provide for that. And then upon a separation, whether they retire or move on to something else, 50% of that is paid out if they're with the city for 10 years. So if they've been employed by the city for 10 years, if they're, whatever sick leave they've accumulated or accrued, the city pays out 50% of that at their current wage. So we've been talking about, reducing that down to a certain number. At the last meeting, you directed that I would calculate out based on staff members that are above the 500 hours currently, and I put that in the RCA here. So if we were to pay that out right now, again, 50% of whatever they're over the 500 hours, that would calculate out to $12,800 at this particular time.
Is that 10 years and 500 hours,
So this would only,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
I just have to make one last shot. Like, I know you came up with the 500 hours arbitrary, but I still think 12 and a half weeks, we don't have any employees that are having young families right now, but you use 12 and a half weeks of your sick leave if you have like a child or you have cancer treatments. Like, I mean, that doesn't, I would be more comfortable with 600, but council can disagree with me, I just wanted to throw that out, or meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but now we have the
We
family medical
Do,
leave,
but will we
right?
have that forever?
Oh, I think we will.
Yeah, I mean, then maybe we can look at changing it then, but
I,
it's here now.
yeah, I think that's here and
I just
that's
think for those
another
big life
avenue.
environment, or big life moments, like,
Yeah, they have FMLA, they have the, whatever.
The family
PED.
medical
Minnesota
leave.
payment.
Yeah, then, yeah.
So I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
tonight you didn't want, did you want a motion tonight, or is this just for our information?
Well, if you're ready, I guess wherever your comfort level is, basically, you know, those changes there that are reflected there in your
We're-
RCA.
We're just gonna kick the can down the street to the next meeting if we don't do it now.
You
I
made
think we
a
should do it for 2
motion.
more
I
meetings.
second.
Okay,
So just to clarify, what was your motion? Just
Uh,
to do this?
To pay out the people that are over 10 years and 500 hours at 50%, which is what they would get if they left.
First, if I'm, you got a motion on the table, but you basically have an amendment here to the personnel policy, so you have to incorporate that first, and then that would be the understanding. You can incorporate that in the same motion. Basically, you need to also amend.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend the personnel policy portion of the sick leave to pay out anybody that has over 10 years of service and has reached 500 hours, anything over that 500 hours at 50%.
And I'll amend my second.
okay, so we have a motion by Padilla, seconded by Eker.
So just to be clear on it, so everybody's cleared, so we're amending to reduce the number of hours that staff can accumulate in sick leave from 960 down to 500. And then any employee right now that's over that 500 hours, we will pay that out at 50%, or 1/2 of anything.
Correct.
So if they're 100 hours over, we're going to reimburse them for 50 hours
And then when,
at their current rate of pay.
Correct.
and when would we pay that out? Do we have a,
This would become effective now. So you're making this change now, so that's when we would do it immediately then.
the next pay period?
Right. We would
And
try
then-
to do
and
it
then
as
we're
quickly as
back at
possible.
500.
Excuse me?
Then we're at 500 hours.
And going forward, 500 is the maximum.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next on the agenda, under new business, we have the hotel market study.
Earlier this year, I reached out to Grand Stay Hospitalities, which is a hotel marketing company that the city had worked with back in 2019. And they got very close to pulling off a project here in town, working with a private developer who's affiliated with them. But unfortunately, COVID hit, and basically the hospitality market just died. Nobody was building. In fact, they were struggling. Very, very difficult period of time for a lot of business industry. But anyway, now they're still around, and they are interested in taking a look at us again. And so the way it works is Grand Stay Hospitality works with a number of different developers. And basically, Grand Stay is in it for their name, their franchise name. So they work with these private developers. The private developers are the ones that are actually doing the investment. They own, operate everything with the hotel. Grand Stay is only in it by name. And there could be other franchises that we could utilize too, but that's who I called. So then Grand Stay basically reached out to one of their developers called Market Point, who in turn contacted me, and I've had one meeting with them to date. And they are interested in Gaylord. The one key thing, though, is we would have to update our hotel market study. This is kind of basically the study that they base a lot of their decisions off of whether or not they would want to consider developing a hotel here in Gaylord. We did a study back in 2019. The environment back in 2019, excuse me, was a little bit different. At that time, we were looking at a medical college that was going to be coming to town, and that had a lot of influence on the market study at that time. They thought that that would be a big attraction that was going to require a lot of demand on a potential hotel coming to town. So a lot of the emphasis on the study was based on that project materializing. As you know, that didn't happen. And so we would need to go back and update the study simply because of that, and then also it's been several years since the study was completed. And so Market Point is asking us to update the study. The cost would be borne by the city. Last time we did one of these, it was about $8,000 cost to the city. They've given me 3 or 4 different companies that we could solicit quotes from to complete the study, and I could come back with that information, and you guys could decide at that point if you want to make that investment. But this is, whether we're working with this developer or another developer for a project of this nature, we're going to have to update that study.
What's piquing their interest in this area again? I mean,
They work in a lot of small communities of our size. I think the industry that we have in our community is an attraction. And not just in our community, but the area. When we're looking at a hotel study, they're not only looking at Gaylord, but the area. What's going to attract from the whole area as far as usage in a hotel?
And it just seems weird that we're the ones that have to front the cost for them to determine. I mean, if they had interest in coming here, something's piquing their interest in looking at this area, I would think they'd have an idea as to what's going on. I mean, if I want to start a business in town, is the city going to do a study for me to see if it's viable or not? I guess I struggle with that. When we've done it once already, that cost $8,000, nothing happened. We do it again, what's it going to cost this time around? Probably more than $8,000.
Yeah.
We need to start from scratch, though, or couldn't they just update the current study?
Yeah, that's a possibility, that they could just build, update what's already been done.
I mean, I think we should at least go and get quotes. I mean, ultimately, we're not deciding if we're doing it right now anyways, but if we can get quotes, and like, Steve and I have been meeting with Michael Foods, and I mean, they talk quite a bit about contractors and needing hotels. So I think this definitely is a benefit to our local economy regarding our industry. Obviously, you got like Heartland and stuff in Winthrop as well. So,
Especially with the street projects and stuff, there've been a lot of contractors staying for the summer.
Michael Foods, what they say the other day, they have like a whole bunch of guys that go all the way down to Mankato. And even here in town, they still have 10 to 12 cars there every night.
And just would think if they put in a big room that they could rent out for weddings and stuff, they'd really be making.
Yeah, I think to see if there could be an update to that study.
Yeah, I'm not.
They could just update it.
It just seems weird why we're the ones that are supposed to pay for that. If they've already got a little interest in the area, they must know something or have an idea that, I don't know, I guess it seems strange to me how this process works, but.
This is something though too, later on, let's say this comes to fruition here, we could basically go back and try and recoup those costs, possibly, can't we? I mean, obviously it would take the project going ahead, but there's ways we could probably do that.
Yes, I would agree. Potentially, anyway.
So I mean, it'd be an investment for us, but it could potentially pay off.
Did you say you reached out to them, or they reached out to you?
I reached out to Grand Stay Hospitality, and they have this Market Point as a developer that they work with.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of things have changed, and the biggest was the school didn't come here, and I think that's really why they were interested before. I think when you have 2 other hotels in town, it's gonna be difficult for them to build unless they do have some sort of a hall, but I'm not opposed to seeing what it would cost for the study.
So tonight you just need consensus?
That's
So
it,
How
right.
does the council,
I'm good to seeing what the cost is.
Yes.
okay.
Do you think you'd have that back in the next meeting, or this be probably a May thing?
It'll be May, because it's going to take a little time. I have to give them, at least a couple weeks or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, 11B, Old Elementary School Utility Base Fee Waiver.
So this might sound familiar. Last fall, the council had a discussion about waiving the utility fees for the elementary school. And this was roughly around the time that the current owner of the property purchased it. And at that time, the council decided to assist that new owner. It wasn't a request from him, but basically he was just trying to get something going with the building. And so you elected to waive the current utility fees for 6 months. Also, part of that was waiving the outstanding utilities completely. But basically, you asked that this come back, and then you'd have further discussion about what was going to happen or what you're going to do in the future here. At this point in time, the last time I spoke with him, he's still having challenges with getting the property insured. He has at least one potential tenant that's interested in a segment of the property, but if he's having problems getting it insured, you know, that's holding the whole thing up. So that's where he's at right now.
I don't think we waive it anymore, because I know, our police department's been there a number of times due to, I guess, the school attracting kids and stuff in there, so it's incurring costs from the city on that point. And, I mean, in reality, the base fees aren't that much. So at the very least, I think the city should at least collect those, and
And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the base fees, no user fees, obviously, but base fees.
And I agree with that. I mean, I think the big thing, the big hurdle before was getting over what was past due.
Mhm.
the past
and
due
we
loan
waived that
money.
already, so.
So that's, since that's been waived, then.
I mean, what is the base fees roughly? I don't, I mean, it'd
I
be
can't quote you.
$100 or something.
There's more than one meter over there.
But I mean, it's not like thousands of dollars, it'd be
No.
under $100 a month.
Yeah, it's gonna be maybe a couple hundred.
So it's not like it's gonna be earth shattering.
No.
So do you just need consensus on this too?
Yeah, I guess that's all we had before, is that you guys basically consented to just hold off, or you're waiving the fees, but if you want to now initiate them, that's all I need is a consensus.
Who consents?
Mhm.
Everyone consent?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, then we can move on to 11C, 8th Street Housing Development Concept.
So I was contacted by this developer called Jake Properties, and the primary person I've been working with is Kelly Mahone. And basically what they develop is rental housing. And they're looking at single-story townhomes that they develop. And he's looking for, you know, at this point, he's open, and he's looking for potentially to develop something here in Gaylord. So this is exciting news here. And so what I did is I just shared some of the city properties that we have that are zoned for residential. And including the 8th Street property, and he was very interested in that one. That would be his first choice, not to say that that's his only choice. So I've just put this information in your packet as far as considering if this would be some type of development that you would consider for the 8th Street. I did have an opportunity to go tour one of his units actually yesterday. He built a couple over in New Auburn. And there's some pictures in your packet that he provided and a little bit of summary of their business. And I did put a copy of my notes here for you. I will say I was impressed. For a rental property, it was very nice. And you can kind of read through all this stuff yourself, but there really wasn't, it really shows that they've had a lot of experience with this already. He shared that he owns 64 rental properties with 500 units around the state. A lot of it over here, a lot in this, kind of in this direction. I think as far as west, he goes all the way out to Appleton. So he's kind of over in this direction. He lives in Glencoe. So he's familiar with Gaylord. He actually had kids that went to school here. Anyway, it was very roomy. I was very impressed with the kitchen, how it was laid out, a lot of cabinetry, a lot of space in the unit. Even the garage, for only being a one-stall garage, it was deep. It had a lot of depth to it, so you could do some storage out there. If you wanted to have a workbench, you could do all that. The lighting was very, very good. I think in some respects they cater to retirement age people, and so they really emphasize like the lighting. even in the garage, to have 6, one stall garage, to have 6 can lights in the garage. I thought that was pretty impressive. But, all the appliances in the kitchen were stainless steel. It comes with washer and dryer. He even had a place for a storm shelter. And he had the walls and the door designed for such. It was also kind of slash a mechanical room, but it was an area that they would be able to go to. So again, it was very impressive. It's kind of one of those places, I guess I would feel comfortable if it was my parents moving in there. I would say that's a good place for them to move. Had a patio area as well in the back. So, again, these are people that are very experienced, and they're looking to develop in small cities. Predominantly, this is what they're looking for. They're looking for cities like Gaylord to develop in, and they have been developing.
Tonight? What do they want from us tonight? Just that we're interested in working with them, or?
They're basically, I'm looking for is what property, I guess, would you like to make available? And then I'll start having those kind of conversations with him as far as where he could develop in town.
Yeah, I know Kelly, man. He's on the Glencoe Fire Department, so I've run into him a lot, and he also owns a lot of houses in Glencoe, and he usually takes ones that we have a lot of problems with as a police department, and he buys them, and we never have problems with his properties. He takes very good care of them, so it's exciting that he's come here and wants to build here. So, and I know that if that's the property he wants, and he's gonna pay the fees for it, and I mean, I'd be in favor of him, offering him an opportunity, just because he has done such good work.
The only problem is with the zoning, right?
Yeah, for that particular one, we only allow single-family homes in
Oh,
that particular
okay.
area, so we would have
And
to.
I think this would be a great thing to finish out our 3rd Street development
Yeah,
on the north side of Ryerson's.
Yeah.
I thought
Keeping the
about that
rentals
too.
over there, this would be a great transition going from a 2-story to a 1-story to housing. It looks kind of like housing. And honestly, I mean, I think it's a nice area for it.
And I think one thing our community is lacking and what senior citizens are looking for in most communities is platform or
Yeah.
patio homes. And I just envision that on 8th Street, 1 level, slab on grade.
Single homes.
Yes, and
owner-occupied.
I know we have a lot of senior citizens that want to downsize, want to get out of their house, and that's what they want. And I would love to see that owner occupied in that area. I know we have to attract a developer. I'm super excited that we have 2 developers interested in Gaylord right now, and that's phenomenal, but.
Because my concern would be changing that, allowing that in that area, then what happens when the next person comes and wants to go in a residential area and do a 2-ply? I mean,
Yeah.
And there was a lot of opposition to
It's
developing
like
that
if
at
we-
all.
before
So if we
at
keep
all.
it single
Yes.
family nice, I think it's a good, it
Yeah.
fits the current makeup over there in the park. And like, I mean, this would be our last slot,
And-
probably on
Yeah,
3rd Street.
and
We've
maybe
done
we
one.
talk up to him and Miller Homes. Would any of you guys be interested to develop something out there, owner occupied, slab on grade? I think we would, I know there are senior citizens super interested in that, so they can sell their split levels and.
So Leighton, are you talking 3rd Street or 8th?
3rd Street. My thought too is, I mean, you got Miller Homes in town, and now if Jake Properties, obviously you got Ryerson's over there. Let them prove themselves over there, and let's say if they come, between the 3 of them, wants to develop that too, at least we have something to look at, how it's going. Because, I mean, Ryerson's turned out really great
Yeah, they
4 or
did.
5 years
Nice.
ago. I mean, I would trust him to build a nice thing. I mean,
What do we-
obviously you know Jake a little bit, or Jake Properties, but
Yeah, and Kelly, Mayhaw.
What
it's still
lot
new
on
to
3rd
Gaylord.
Streets, how many could he put on 3rd? What do we have left there? I don't recall.
We just have that 2.5 acre parcel, just north of.
So
Brent
would that be
Ryerson's.
2
So-
townhomes or 1, or what would that,
He could
how
probably
would
put
that sit?
a few of them
it
in
would
there.
A few more
it would
than
look like
that?
Ryerson's kind of where you
Yeah.
probably have to put a street.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
okay, sure,
I want a PowerPoint, I showed Steve earlier this week.
sure,
Kind of just mathed it out, you could fit 4 to 5
okay,
buildings, so that'd be 10 units.
okay.
Plus, I mean, to be honest, with my math, it looks like you probably could save 1 more single-family lot, depending what he wants to buy, but
That's how it lays out.
basically, long story short, there's plenty of room to do
Okay.
the same project, if not a little bit more.
Great,
And-
thanks.
Then they still have a nice pond to look at.
Mm-hmm,
All the geese,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the school's
Well, I
right
might
there.
drive some
yeah,
of
and
the geese
school's right
away.
there.
Really.
chase them, yeah.
And that's
Fire
nice.
department's close.
Well,
their
and the
house.
other thing too, I mean, that's nice playing grass over there too, yet,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
versus,
it is.
I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to develop some of it, but at this point, I guess I'd rather burn up the crabgrass
I
over there.
would too.
It's just been sitting, so it'd be nice.
I like the idea of these duplexes over there too. I
Yeah.
think it would blend in better
I
with
think
some
it
of the
will
single
blend in
family and
nice,
then,
yeah.
yeah, instead of.
It'd look very nice too, I think, having a bunch of building going on.
Just a couple things to add here. In light of this discussion kind of going this direction tonight, I did reach out to Brent Ryerson and just to find out where he's at, out of courtesy. And he said that they would possibly be interested in that parcel as well, but they'd be interested if we could give them the same kind of package that we gave them last time, which was somewhat generous, because basically the land, we charged basically $175,000, and I imagine that dollar amount was the land and plus all the utilities and the roadway. That was all kind of added up to $175. I'm guessing that's where that figure came from. But we built that into the TIF district, and we did a 15-year housing district for that. And basically what we're doing is we're collecting 5% of the increments or the taxes that he's paying each year. That's what we're retaining. Right now, I'm just going to use round numbers, he's paying about $60,000 in taxes. So we're getting 5% of that back. That's going towards the $175,000 that we fronted, plus any administration for administering the TIF district. We're collecting about $3,000 a year. Over 15 years, that's not going to add up to $175,000. It's going to be well short. And so I have some hesitation of doing it exactly like that again. What Brent's got going on there, I just asked him a couple questions too, just information. So these are 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom units that he has. He's currently charging anywhere from $1,700 to $1,750. $1,750 are for any new tenants that are coming in right now. That's his new rate. So that's where he's at. Right now, he's not developing any other place, but he would be interested potentially sometime in the future, depending on how we could work it again. If we structure it exactly the same, he would be interested. Now, on the other hand, talking with Kelly Mahone, he is not asking for a TIF or a tax abatement. I mean, if the city is willing to give it to him, he'll take it, of course, but it's not a make or break as far as the project is concerned. So I did, in again, light of this possible conversation coming up, I did talk to him about this yesterday, and last night he came out and looked at the parcel, and he thought it was doable.
At the 3rd Street.
Yeah, on 3rd Street. I did share with him too about the soil corrections that would have to be done. Again, going back to when we did the test digs back in 2020, it was anywhere from 9 to 11 feet that we'd have to go down before we get good soil over there. So, you remember with Ryerson's too, we paid for that soil corrections too. That was another thing. So it ended up costing us a lot of money on that
But
particular deal.
wouldn't we have to do that with
Yeah, but-
anybody who goes there?
And that's
It
been the
wouldn't make any
approach, I know,
difference, yeah.
it's been the approach. I mean, even with that property going to the north, that's gonna be a single-family house, we're gonna be doing that this year with, as far as doing the soil corrections. But it's something that I had to share with him, obviously, and it should be part of, I think, your consideration, whatever dollar amount you're gonna set on that lot, that's gonna be a cost for the city.
And as far as Ryerson's go, I mean, obviously, it's kind of first come, first serve. I mean, Ryerson, in the future, could be 10 years from now. I mean, we have plenty of other land out there too. If Ryerson approaches us in 5 years, I mean, we have that land south of the school and east of
Yeah.
Wolverine Meadows.
I guess
I mean,
would
it'd be a
agree.
great opportunity for him to get in somewhere else and start a new development.
I
But the
think,
cornfields that every year.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good fit over there.
Yeah.
I think it would blend in well. And I think it'd be nice to get another developer in town doing
Yes.
something, and we'll see where that might lead.
Yes. Agreed.
Just to throw out there, what Michael Foods say, like 30% of their employees live beyond 30 minutes from Gaylord?
Yeah.
Or no, only 30% within 30 minutes.
With it- Yeah, that was like that, yeah.
So, I mean, just as far as the housing goes, I know they like this stuff when we've met with them, we've talked about housing, so.
I think he's very interested.
Yeah.
I think we just need to come up with a dollar amount as far as an asking price on the property.
Jessica just brought up a good point. Is this a patio townhomes? Is there base, I mean, how much,
These are slab on grade.
okay, so like how much soil corrections have to be done with slab on grade?
Well, you'll still have to have footings.
Yeah, and we could see, I guess, with soil, I mean, compaction could be differently too.
He's gonna,
Because I know with talking like with some of the other builders in town, the patio homes haven't been as big of a deal as when you go deeper. I don't know why that would be, but. Because I know that was a discussion that came up with like Dwayne a little bit.
I guess I can talk to him more about it, but, I mean, as far as what he's done in the past, as far as his other construction projects.
Or even if Justin maybe has Black has some input. I don't, I mean, do we want to put a number together, let him make us an offer and go from there?
I mean, generally, we'd put an offer together, I guess. Just to share with you, the county has the property valued at $142,100. Again, it's 2.5 acres. Maybe that's where you can chime in.
So, I mean, basically, the city has an obligation to get fair market value for the property. We've talked about this quite a bit on other properties. So how do we determine what is fair market value? County is a good starting point. It's already been sort of determined by their algorithm that they're using to assess taxes. And in 2026, it's usually a pretty accurate number. You know, years back, it was kind of an imperfect process. Nice thing is that it's transparent, it's determined by the government entity, and so it's just kind of an easy negotiating point. City's bound by this obligation to get fair market value. You know, how do we determine that? Here's what the county says. Another way to do it would be to pay for a commercial appraisal, which is, you know, a pretty prevalent way of determining value. It's probably a more accurate way, or it's kind of the gold standard in valuation, but we have to pay for it, and it's not always clear what the number is going to come back at. And the concern is that it comes back too high, comes back too low, that, you know, you're sort of putting this in the hands of somebody else. You lose an element of control as well. So I guess if it were up to me, I would say let's use the county number, if that's kind of in the denomination of money that people feel comfortable with. If we feel like that is kind of arbitrarily low, or one of the kind of bad valuations that the county inevitably does, then maybe we look elsewhere, like a commercial appraisal. You know, to the extent that there needs to be discussions about soil corrections and who pays for that, you know, that can all be kind of baked into the, you know, the valuation. If it's valued at 100 and you said 120 by the county, what did 142? Then, you know, you go from there in terms of who does the soil correction and who pays for that. So I would recommend using the county's number, at least as a starting point. But if that figure doesn't make a lot of sense, then I guess our best other option would be to get it appraised.
What if we wanted to do something less? Or what if he's not willing to pay that much or something like that? I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, and I think that's kind of where the negotiations come in, where I say, you know, if he can't afford to do that, or if there's other issues on the property like the soil corrections, then, you know, that kind of has to come out in the negotiations. And if we can, you know, kind of isolate like what is affecting the value, is it the soil conditions, is it similar comps, then, you know, then the city does have some latitude to negotiate down. So it's not necessarily the absolute firm number the city has to go with, but it probably does need to be the starting point, so we can at least show that, like, you know, we're trying to take into account what the only valuation is that we have.
And from our standpoint, that includes the utilities, that includes the street. Those are all things that the city invested in for this development.
What did we get for Ryerson's? I mean, what was the,
Well, it was built into the TIF district again for $175,000.
was that lot smaller, wasn't it, by a little bit?
2.1 acres.
And this is like 2.5?
Justin?
You gotta wake up.
So with these patio homes, does the soil really affect it like?
I couldn't answer that question tonight. But I've been listening to the conversation. If you have a developer or developers that are interested, one option might be to give them permission to go out and do some test digging on their own, and they can make their own determination whether they feel it's suitable or not. I know the city has done their own test digs a number of years ago, but that may be an option to allow them permission to go on the land, dig some holes, and then they can see firsthand what they might be up against, or maybe it's not an issue.
Or is it something that you can just start at that 142 and then do like everybody else that we've dealt with over there, just pay the cost?
I guess that's up to you. If you're trying to determine what the soil corrections might be, there's really no way to know that unless you somehow get them or their builder involved and have them take a look at it. You know, once you make that commitment to covering all the soil correction costs, there's a little bit of risk there for the city because you might not know what that means, depending on what their building type is, if it's slab on grade or whether they have frost footings or what their contractor is comfortable with from a support foundation standpoint. So that would be one thought, to see if they've got concerns, to have them go out there and take a look.
What if we let them do that, or do like the 142,000, and then, I mean, if at the end of the day, we'll cover up to $42,000 of the soil corrections, because then we're still guaranteed 100,000? I mean, and you could pick a different number, but my thought is capping it somewhere, because, I mean, otherwise we can go right back down again.
Yeah, I like that idea, that we
Because it's,
so much towards it.
it kind of meets in the middle. We're
That's
trying to do our part, but
Yeah.
at the same time, looking out for us getting money to do hopefully another development in 5-10 years or something.
Yeah, it's just nice that he's not asking for a TIF and all that. He's actually wanting to pay for the land.
And that's where I think it'd be nice to be a little bit, you know, start at 142 and give them basically a budget if
Yeah.
we have to.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe in the meantime, let him go dig holes, I guess, if he wants.
So is that what you need, Steve?
I think so, if that's the consensus.
Sure.
Yes.
At least start with that, I guess.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's why I stuck around. I saw this agenda item and I wanted to be here to answer any questions, so.
We appreciate it.
I'll start with the 142 and then ask him if he wants to go out there and dig around.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Any closing comments?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Eker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kufal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Meeting is adjourned.